Peace, 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 family. My name is Michael Jordan, aka the Sirius Alchemist, back with another video. And y'all know, as I always say, I'm serious about my shit. So let's get it. Let's get it. Today's book review is got a good book for y'all today. Another one of books Bobby recommended. Um, the Gnostic Young and the Seven Sermons of the Dead by Stephen A. Holler. If you don't got it, it's a must have in your library. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're interested in Gnosticism. So I'm gonna read a little something from the back, like I always do, family. But before I get into that, I'm gonna bring up the book study I do every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Becoming Supernatural by Dr. Joe Dispenza. This book we're studying, we're on chapters 3 to 6 right now. If you're interested, leave your email down in the description box and I'll send you the link so you can join. Again, if you're interested, every Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, we go into this book, Becoming Supernatural by Dr. Joe Dispenza. So if you're interested, leave your email down in the description box and I'll send you the link so you can join. So back to the Gnostic Young and the Seven Sermons of the Dead by Stephen A. Holler. Yo, this is a serious book right here, family. Um, you know what I'm saying? If you don't, if for those of you out there that don't know who the Gnostics were a group of individuals who were known as the knowers, because the Gnostics meant to know or the knowers. And they believed that you could have a personal relationship with God. They didn't believe, well, some of them, some sects did and some sects didn't. They didn't believe in the Christ. They believed that man could have his own relationship with God. He didn't need no mediator, right? So that's what the Gnostics was about. You know what I'm saying? They had different sects. You know what I'm saying? That they beliefs vary differently between different sects, but they pretty much believed that this world was created by a demiurge. You know what I'm saying? And he was an evil God. He wasn't an all-loving God for the simple fact that he said, I'm a jealous God. Everybody knows that's a low attribute. That's a very low vibration to be jealous of something. You feel me? So yeah, I'm gonna go into this book. You know what I'm saying? Again, the Gnostic Young. And Young was they got a picture of him on the back. He was yeah, I think he was a psychiatrist, excuse me. And he would, help a lot of people in the work he did. And he would use Gnosticism to help his patients because he realized there was something in Gnosticism that could infect the psyche, so to speak. So yeah. Let me read from the back of the book like I always do, family. The Seven Sermons is a modern age Gnostic text which Carl Jung believed was dedicated to him. Gnosticism, like mysticism, pursues the inner way. Its authority is not external but internal. A living personal experience, but without denying the outer world. Under the guise of Basilides, a second century AD Gnostic sage, Jung wrote in 1916 the Seven Sermons to the Dead. The sermons criticized prevailing religious orthodoxies and proclaimed a Gnostic alternative, which inter alia contained basic psychological principles that figured throughout Jung's career. Individuation, the polarity of the psyche, and psyche energy. The author has made his own translation of the sermons and sets forth a lengthy explanation and far-ranging commentary on Jung, Gnosticism, and the present condition of the Western individual. Written in vivid metaphorical English, laced with illuminating quotations, the book also provides an excellent summary of Jung's basic outlook. Highly recommended. And I would highly recommend the book. That's why I'm doing a book review on it, family, because if the book wasn't that and it couldn't help you in your life in some type of way, then I really wouldn't do the book review. Those I only do book reviews on books that I think need to be reviewed and I think people need to look into for themselves. You know what I'm saying? And not just take somebody else's word for it. And this is one of those books right here. You know what I'm saying? And I read a little piece out of here, family. Maybe maybe it'll spark something in somebody to go get the book. You feel me? Because like I always say, you going to getting the book can do the book much more justice than what I'm going to tell you in this video. You know what I'm saying? You reading it for yourself. You know what I'm saying, because I go through, like a few little passages in the book, what the book's about, you know what I'm saying, and how it can, help you in your daily life. And this book right here can really transform you if you let it. You know what I'm saying? If you let it penetrate the psyche and let it get deep in the inner realms, you know what I'm saying? Then it can really transform you. But I'm gonna read something in here on page 81 that I think that might spark somebody to go get the book because I found this passage very interesting. That's why I put a tab by it. Um, I got another one over here. Let's see. Yeah, that's a picture of a bright. But anyway, it says the religions of the masses demand obedience to God's will, while the gnosis demands both obedience and disobedience. Not all commandments come from the true God, said the ancient Gnostics. For many come from a demiurge, whose law may be useful to the unenlightened. The psychics or men of soul, but is counterproductive to the true Gnostics. The pneumatics are men of spirit. The will of nature is not that of supernature. The law of the morning, which is appropriate for spiritual infants, must be broken by those who have progressed to the law of the evening, where the light of differentiated consciousness must be dimmed in order to admit the luminosity of the midnight sun of individuation. The Jewish gnosis of the Kabbalah recognized this when it capitalized on the divine statement in Isaiah 45:7. I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. In Kabbalistic writings, we encounter the teachings of the two inclinations. Yes, sir. And the advice that the Kabbalistic gnosis is to love God with both of these, the right and the left hand pillars of the tree of life, and even more the doctrine regarding the terrifying Kalipa, or evil principles existing in conjunction with the same tree. Bring to our attention a doctrine that postulates evil as a metaphysical reality in God. Isaac Luria, the most Gnostic of all the Kabbalistic teachers, said that the root of all evil lies in the very nature of divine creation, inasmuch as God created in order to manifest everything hidden in his own mysterious nature. The Christian mystic Jacob Boehme similarly regarded God's love and wrath, his brilliant light and burning fire, as belonging inseparably together, both being the effluence of God's eternal word. For life can only be when good and evil exist together, both in God and in man. The Kabbalah, as well as the more daring forms of Christian mysticism, are of course rooted in the wisdom of the ancient Gnostics, who declared in the Gospel of Philip, the light and the darkness, life and death, the right and the left, are brothers to one another. Because of this, neither are the good good, neither nor the evil evil, nor is life a life, nor death a death. Because of this, each will resolve in its origin from the beginning. That was heavy, family. That was a heavy, that was heavy right there. You know what I'm saying? Just try to ponder on that for a second and wrap your mind around that. Gotta have me a little water, family, drinking from my copper cup. You know what I'm saying? You know the benefits of drinking water from copper. It can kill parasites, electrolytes, water, adds minerals to the water, all kind of positive things, good things goes in the body when you drink water from a copper cup. But make sure it's real copper because there's a lot of fake stuff going around. So if you happen to get you a copper drinking cup, double check that it's pure copper. Make sure you double check because it's a lot of people, you got a lot of charlatans out here always trying to make a dollar off somebody, you know what I'm saying, if they can. But yeah, get you a copper cup, family. Really good for you. So yeah, that was powerful what I just read. I'm gonna read this one last paragraph again because yeah, my mouth was a little dry when I read it the first time. But it says, The Kabbalah, as well as the more daring forms of Christian mysticism, are of course rooted in the wisdom of the ancient Gnostics, who declared in the Gospel of Philip, the light and the darkness, life and death, the right and the left are brothers one to another. It is not possible to separate them from one another. Because of this, neither are the good good, nor the evil evil, nor is life a life, nor death a death. Because of this, each will be resolved into its origin from the beginning. So you're gonna go back to where you came from, and you existed before this physical body. You know what I'm saying? I just want y'all to know that you existed before this physical body, and there's not gonna be a time where you won't exist. So death is really nothing to fear, but that's a whole another video. So then I'm gonna show you a deity that they used to worship in Gnosticism, or I don't know if they worship, but honored, whatever you want to call it, Abraxas. You know what I'm saying? The serpent feet and the head of a rooster. You know what I'm saying? But if you take that word Abraxas and Abraham and all Abraham, who else? Amun Ra, Solomon, and you mix that's all the same, all the same, all the same. Just unscramble it. Abraham, Abraxas, um, Amun Ra. Just unscramble the name, and you'll get all that out of there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it says, Abraxas, rooster-headed god with serpent feet, in whom light and darkness are both unified and transcended. So it's basically just a symbol of transcending light and darkness, basically, is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Nothing spooky, nothing scary. You know what I'm saying? Um, that's what it is. So I'm going to read another little piece out of here, family, that I thought was pretty interesting, that'll make somebody go get this piece, get this book, excuse me. Okay, Jung, in his intuitive knowledge of the gnosis, recognized that not dualism, but the recognition of the ultimate necessity for the union of the opposites was at the heart of Gnostic attitude, with such descriptions as he is himself the greater pan and also the lesser. He is Priapos. Jung squarely identified Abraxas with the universal and undifferentiated psychic energy, which he himself came to espouse in his work, Symbols of Transformation. However, he also recognized that this same energy is incarnate after its fashion in the forces of the instincts, which are the lesser pan. The blind but potent instinctual nature of humanity, symbolized by the perpetually eager and erect phallus of Priapos, the highest archetypes of the unconscious, have been at times called analogous of the instincts. And it may be equally correct to state that the instincts in turn are the correspondence of the archetypes. Did y'all hear that? The instincts themselves are the correspondence or the archetype. So this stuff in itself is healing, family. Because then you start understanding things about yourself. You know what I'm saying? You start understanding things about yourself that you never really understood. And when this, you know what I'm saying, or understand why you was a certain way and why you know what I mean? Because our emotions ain't really to take them as something. They're really just to observe. But a lot of us we take this stuff as really real, and it's not real, family. It's an illusion, but at the same time, it is real. If you catch my drift. But family, get this book. This book worth its weight in gold. You see how many tabs I got up in here? I've been all up in here, and I still ain't got most of the Jews out of it. You know what I'm saying? So somebody else go get it. They can get more Jews out of it. Like I said, each one teach one. We all gonna reach some. You feel me? So this book is worth its weight in gold, y'all. And I'm gonna read one more last piece before I let y'all go. You know what I'm saying? Because I love sitting in front of y'all, giving y'all these books, giving y'all this knowledge. I love doing this, family. I just love doing this. So this is on page 110. And it says, the drive for self-knowledge is said to motivate numerous spiritual or religious schools the world over. But its most frequently noted manifestations appear to be among several religions of India and Asia. In most of these religious systems, congregational worship is non existent, while individual prayer, worship, and meditation are advocated. Priests are guardians of temples, performers of sacrifices, but do not have the kind of social role Christian priests or ministers as well as rabbis and mullahs, have assumed in the Semitic religions. Many Eastern religions appear to exist primarily for the individual's benefit. Their task is to facilitate the insight, individuation, or spiritual perception of the individual. In short, they deal with relatedness to personal and ultimate meaning. In the traditions which mainly proceed from the Semitic peoples, the emphasis is primarily social. Worship is congregational in nature, and defined times of great regularity are established for activities of worship. For the most part, on a weekly rather than on a merely seasonal basis, in many of these religions, the ethical content has well nigh swallowed up the metaphysics or the mysticism. I'm going to read that one more time, family. I'm going to read that one more time. Um, where did it go? Da, 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 da. I lost my. Yeah, here we go. Many Eastern religions appear to exist primarily for the individual's benefit. Their task is to facilitate the insight, individuation, or spiritual perception of the individual. In short, they deal with relatedness to personal and ultimate meaning. In the traditions which many proceed from, the Semitic peoples, the emphasis is primarily social. Worship is congregational in nature, and definite times of great regularity are established for activities of worship. For the most part, on a weekly rather than on a merely seasonal basis, in many of these religions, the ethical content has well nigh swallowed up the metaphysics or the mysticism. The concern for don'ts and for do's is great. It has been said in a humorous vein that the oral, excuse me, let me get a little water before I read that. Let me get a little sip real quick, family. Excuse me for a second. Okay. It has been said in a humorous vein that the Oriental religions are be religions, that Judaism is a do religion and Christianity a don't religion. The two orientations to spirituality both have their light and shadow sides. In the East, concern for the welfare of persons is regarded as relatively unimportant. The tendency of persons in India to shrug their shoulders in the face of human misery and suffering while taking umbrage under the concept of karma is considerable. The Buddhist attitude is much more compassionate, but in practice, even in Buddhist countries, one usually encounters a society with little social responsibility. On the other hand, the Western mind has been beset for centuries with the perplexities of both the theory and practice of social responsibility, ever since Cain asked the portentous question whether he was in fact his brother's keeper. The matter of how far one must go in answering an affirmative answer has been our deep concern. The Semitic religions, without exception, answered Cain's question affirmatively, but the practice of this affirmative precept has taken curious manifestations indeed. Some of the worst forms of economic exploitation, racial prejudice, and mechanized martial slaughter originated among the peoples whose spiritual roots go back to the Semitic religions, thus indicating the practice seldom, if ever, keeps pace with theory in the life of humanity. So, family, the Gnostic Young, Seven Sermons of the Dead. Get the book, worth every penny, by Stephen A. Holler. Yeah, this book, man, family, is worth it. And to me, books hit a lot harder than anything else. Videos, um, tapes, cassette tapes, books just hit harder, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? They get the message straight across, especially when you study them, you know what I'm saying, and restudy them until you can apply it to learn how to apply it in your life. And like I always say, knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. You see what I'm saying? I'm going to say that one more time. Knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. That's real power. You know what I'm saying, family? So, yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed the book review today. I hope somebody go out and get the book. The Gnostic Young and the Seven Sermons to the Dead by Stephen A. Holler. And if you would like a reading from me, hit me up. Leave, you know what I'm saying? I'll leave my email down in the description box. Just hit me up with an email. Yeah. So, yeah. Oh, there's one more piece in here, family. There's one more piece in here. I got to share this piece. I almost forgot about this piece. This piece is really going to make somebody go get the book. Now, this is called The Fourth Sermon. It ain't gonna take that long, so you know what I'm saying. This is a little quick piece. But this is the fourth sermon, the burning bush and tree of life. And it says, after having presented the awesome image of Abraxas to the dead, young Basilius proceeds to teach his reluctant pupils further mysteries regarding great dual spiritual powers, which, unlike Abraxas, do not represent the union of the opposites, but rather their adversary and even warlike relationship. Gnostics were forever accused of dualism by their opponents, and were it not for Jung's lengthy and impressive description of Abraxas in the second and third sermons, a similar charge might be leveled against him on the basis of the fourth and fifth sermons. Duality and unity are, in fact, both vitally important and coexisting principles of the functioning of psychic nature and are thus treated in the sermons as well in later scientific writings of the prophet Kusnacht. The psychophysiological organisms of the human being is a unity, but within it, titanic and fearsome dual forces are forever struggling for supremacy. Locked in an aeonial wrestle, excuse me, locked in an aeonial wrestling posture of deathly combat, body and spirit, feeling and intellect, femininity and masculinity, instinct and civilization are forever engaged in an Armageddon. Did y'all hear that, family? I'm gonna read that one more time. Locked in an aeonial wrestling posture of deathly combat, body and spirit, feeling and intellect, femininity and masculinity, instinct and civilization are forever engaged in an Armageddon, at once necessary and futile. The German soul to which J.W. von Goethe gave such eloquent expression seems to have expressed this Faustian duality with much greater clarity and fervor than any national psychic since the passing of the ancient Greeks. The two souls which Goethe said lived in false breasts were given a clear recognition by the Greeks in the cosmic psychological figures which Jung makes reappear in the fourth sermon, i.e., the burning one and the growing one. The Greeks declared that the two world spheres dwell in the fabric of cosmic and human life and that they stand in mortal combat with one another. This combat is of such power and magnitude that we can by no means foretell its outcome. The growing spirit is the spirit of civilization. It ever seeks to create forms wherein life may expand, may build, and make itself more secure. The burning one, on the other hand, seeks life in movement, change, adventure, battle, and at times even in conflict and violence. The growing one is peaceful. The burning one is warlike. Civilization is conserving and often conservative, while the opposing dynamism is revolutionary. Both forces are part of the natural order, a consideration which may be worth mentioning in view of the periodic eruptions of, Rousseau sentimentalizations of things we are pleased to call natural. War and peace, conservation and destruction, constructive evolution and destructive revolution are all a part of nature. To identify nature with peace and serenity to the exclusion of war and fierceness is contrary to the evidence of observation. Is the peaceful sunset more natural than the erupting volcano? Is the nightingale more natural than the hawk? In the dynamism of nature, killing is as necessary as giving birth. Human moral values cannot and should not be projected onto nature for the very evident reason that they do not belong there. One may be justified in believing that peace is better than war. That compassion is preferable to cruelty, but it must be recognized that the values which underlie such judgments are derived not from nature, but from consciousness. In the psychological meaning of the word, as opposed to the unconscious, one grand attempt at conjoining the two, the concept of natural law within Thomistic theology, has revealed itself as a great failure with increasingly differentiation of consciousness in history. Hygiene, sanitation, population control, or even the human concern with ecological balance in nature are all the products of consciousness and demonstrate the need to apply consciousness to the processes and the developments of nature. And with that, I'm going to end this book review. You know what I'm saying? And like I always say, if you like a read from me, leave a email down in the description box. You know what I'm saying? I'll definitely hit you up. And again, my name is Michael Jordan, aka the Sirius Alchemist. See you in the next video. Peace.